Aloha. So here I am, fresh from the garden. You can see that I am very disheveled today. Lawrence seems to think that I look better than normal, but that's probably just because he's nice.
You always look great. I'm saying that we got the lighting just right, I suppose, today.
So if I don't have any lipstick in my teeth, then I'll be very surprised because I literally just slapped a bunch of makeup on myself 5 minutes before this. Yeah, here I am having, cooked some fresh chard, which is excellent, but it's been a long day.
It was lovely.
Yeah, you liked it?
Yes, I'd have it again.
Good, because there's plenty in the garden. So, how y'all doing? Yeah, you doing all right?
Yeah, Peg says you're lovely, even if you're disheveled.
Ooh,
so
okay.
More about you than them, but.
I hope everybody's ready, and we're gonna jump in here in a second. How many people we got on today?
We
Lawrence?
have a rather palatable 6.
All right, so we have gotten started, and what I am going to talk about today is really quite a few things. Actually, we have some stuff to do today. If I have time, I'm going to show you some stitches about halfway through. But the real exciting part of today is all the stuff I got from my trip. Because I thought at least a couple of these things you guys would be pretty interested in. And I am going to reveal to you what my next project is going to be, as promised last week. So let's get into this. First thing that I got on the trip, kind of by accident, was a fan. You can see it's pretty big fan. And I had quite a lovely time playing with it while I was at the Renaissance Festival. Lawrence even was playing with it on his own live stream with the Patreon people yesterday. And the reason why I say I accidentally got it is because we thought it was a rental. So, that morning went and rented Lawrence's costume, which he, of course, was Sir Han Solo. Ha 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 ha. And you can see his Instagram page at lawrence.m.brown if you want to check out his costume.
In which I'm being attacked by that very fan.
Yes, indeed. By my friend who was a very beautiful lady. But yes, so we got these fans for each of the 3 of us. And then at the end of the day, when we went to return them with his costume, they said we could keep them. So here is my fan. Yay. I also was given a pencil and a very cute little pin, which unfortunately seems to have been misplaced already. And I'm pretty sure I know where it is, but Lawrence couldn't seem to locate it, and I didn't have time to actually check. So for now, you get to see the pencil, but the adorable little pin is also the same colors, and it says "shall not be denied." And it's from the person who gave us a tour of the Library of Congress. So it's just so sweet. Like, she came and she gave us this tour, and she gave me this pencil and the pin and said that I would be really interested in this. And of course I was, because what this is it represents their exhibit right now on 100 years of suffrage. So that kind of segues me into my goal. My goal next year is to try and make it to costume college. Now, a few of you might actually know what costume college is. If you don't, what it is it's a convergence of like-minded sewers, crafters, people who make costumes either for a living or just for fun. And they all meet, honestly, about a month before now every year. So in August, I think, sometimes in July, in California. So obviously it's not a cheap thing to attend. But I think it's like 4 or 5 days usually worth of just learning costume things. And their theme next year is also 100 years of suffrage. So I not only was just delighted to get these, but it's going to be a constant reminder, hopefully, especially when I find my little pin again, that's what I am working toward here in the next year. So hopefully you all will be able to help me with that too, because something that I am thinking about, even though it'll be my first time at costume college, is I'm wondering if maybe I should try to apply to teach a class. And if you think I should, since we already do these, sew streams and live streams together where we get together and we have our little sewer circle, then let me know, and let me know what you think I could potentially teach that would go along with the theme as well, because I am interested in at least applying, but I'm also a little nervous since it would be my first time ever at costume college, just attending, let alone teaching. So let me know what you think about that. I also got, and Lawrence, of course, helped with this as well, some books. So again, along with the pin and the pencil, I also was given an exhibition book. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at some of these illustrations in here. And there's also like a section that is trading cards of the suffragettes. Check that out. It's so cool. But what's even cooler is that their exhibition, the Shall Not Be Denied exhibition, they actually have the papers of all of the women who they have information for and pictures on display for, housed there in the Library of Congress. So that's even cooler. So if you get to go and see it, then you can check all of those women out, and you can also get some trading cards, and maybe we can trade with each other. I don't know. But yeah, so that is probably the highlight of my trip, and it's also really, really cool that I was given those things. But the books, yes. So Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior in Company and Conversation. These are George Washington's rules, and what's really fun about this book is that it has been published by the Mount Vernon Ladies Association for a number of years. I think since the 30s, I want to say. It only has the most recent copyright on here, so I can't tell you the actual number of years, but they have published this subsequently for a number of years since they started coming up with funds to continue keeping Mount Vernon preserved. So I thought that was a kind of a fun little book, and I can't wait to read it. Lawrence picked out Common Sense by Thomas Paine, which of course has a 5-star rating by the Schuyler sisters. I thought that was quite funny.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh, really? No, that was the first thing I noticed. So if you like Hamilton, you'll appreciate that. That's kind of a funny little in-joke from our friends over there at Mount Vernon. And yeah, so we got some books. We've got all that stuff. I got a sticker from a brewery, and because it was Labor Day weekend, it's Labor Day lager, but I, coming from a pseudo working class background, I do appreciate the Labor Day festivities. So I really liked that sticker, even if it is just an advertisement, really. Here's another book that we got. I forgot to mention it with the other books, but the Thomas Jefferson Building, Library of Congress. This is the one that was recommended to us by our tour guide. And it basically just gives you little tidbits on each of the different rooms in the building. And of the 3 Library of Congress buildings, the Thomas Jefferson Building is by far the most ornate, and also has a bunch of very specific and well-planned detailing throughout it that was come up with when, L'Enfant, who was, I think, the designer of the actual city, but he, kind of helped to interpret what should be placed in there and why, and what the significance of it was when it was first built, which was in the early 1800s, right? I believe.
Yes. Well, I know that Thomas Jefferson's books were sold to the library at, around the time of the War of 1812, I think.
So early 1800s is when this building was built, and it is very ornate, and there are very, very, very pointed reasons why there are lots of things in it that there are, and this book just basically tells you all of that stuff. So again, the Thomas Jefferson Building, Library of Congress, another one that I think Lawrence and I both are going to kind of dig ourselves into, and it's going to be really fun. I also got this, and if it looks a little small, it's not for me. It's for one of our nieces, and what it is it's a special edition Apollo 11 suit, because of course it's been 50 years since the Apollo 11 mission, and it's really cute because it has like an Apollo 11 patch on it, and it's supposed to be like, a mini replica of the actual suit. But anyway, I think that my niece is going to get a kick out of that. So that is another thing that I got. And I also, this might be my favorite purchase, got some embroidery scissors. And I actually got these before I left because, fun fact, right now, as of screening of our live stream, the TSA regulation states that you can have scissors on the plane with you as long as they are 4 inches or lower. And in this case, this is 1.5 inches long. And I will be honest with you, these are probably the best little embroidery scissors I've ever had. And they more than did the job while I was, of course, sewing on the metro and also on the plane and on the plane again coming back. So I am actually in love with these, and I will be using these for a long time to come. But yeah, little embroidery scissors. I don't know what the brand is, unfortunately, if anybody asks, but I will tell you that I did get them at Blick Art. So if you are in the Chicago area or if you're in a major city that has Blick, then you can probably find them there. But they're adorable, and I love them. I also got these, which if you've been following my socials, then you know I wore some hair extensions, but I did not buy the hair extensions. I actually made them. So I was, again, sewing a lot on the metro next to Lawrence, who was kind of just watching me in awe, wondering why I was sitting next to this weirdo who was sewing while everybody else was in like suits. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at you in awe and occasionally glancing away from you, just, so I wasn't associated in some way.
But yeah, so I wore some extensions, and these are just a couple of them, but you can see I sewed some little combs onto the backs of them so that they would stay in. I made some really little ones as well, but these are disgusting right now. I thought about wearing them this evening, but I still haven't washed them from Renfest, so I need to wash them. And as you can see, they're like all matted and everything from that day. But yeah, that was a fun little make that I did literally on the metro in the days leading up to Renfest after the dress itself was actually done. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you was, of course, the flower crown. I've gotten so many comments over the last few days about the flower crown, and I did not make it. I actually purchased it there. My friend who we stayed with and my other friend who came with us to Renfest, they both already had theirs from previous years because they had both been to Renfest before. But of course, I had never been. So they felt as though I needed one as well. So I went and got myself this beautiful flower crown. And I think I'm going to use it as maybe a wreath when it gets to be spring again. I might use it in the next few weeks too before I put my fall wreath up. But yeah, you can see it's a mixture of dried flowers. The little ones are actually real and dried flowers, but the big ones are not real. They are definitely fake. However, it's really pretty. And from far away, it kind of looks like they're real. And the little ones definitely are. So yeah, flower crown. Yay. So that is everything that I got of any interest. And you can see that the flower crown has decided to shed all over because, again, the little flowers are real, so they shed. But yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to share with you before I hopefully get into a little bit of stitches for you is this, which is the anecdote about Washington's famous teeth. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I was told that his teeth were all made of wood. Well, apparently that is a myth. And yes, Washington certainly did suffer from poor dental hygiene, and he did wear dentures, but it looks like mostly they were made out of lead, although some of them were ivory and gold as well. Wood was never used in his dentures, and it just wasn't commonly used by dentists in that specific era at all. So no one really knows where the wood thing came from, but it is in fact a myth. And now you know George Washington had lead teeth. Ah.
Yes, and that said, his poor dental hygiene is surely proof of his English ancestry, in one way or another.
I'm certain that that's true, because that, unfortunately, my friends, is not a myth.
Come on. I was just joking.
No, they brush their teeth. They just don't straighten them like we do. So there is what it is. I don't know. So yeah, I think we have time for stitching. However, I don't have what I wanted to stitch in front of me. So Lawrence, if you'll be so kind as to get me that scrap that's in there along with a very brightly colored thread, then that would be wonderful. And then I can show you, honestly, the easiest of stitches. But while he is doing that, I will show you what I am working on. And it is the apron. So congratulations to those of you who guessed correctly. I am working on an apron. This is just the first and front panel of it. And you can see I've started to pin one of the bottom areas on. But what this is, the reason why it makes sense to be making this right now, I need some thread that's not green.
Red?
Red works for me. The reason why this is a significant make is because I was looking for, things to go with the 16th century dress. And I came along an image of an extant apron that looked very, very similar to the pattern that I'm starting to create here. So this is not done from a pattern at all. This is just out of my head based on this extant image. And it's also proving to take a really long time, which is the reason why I didn't get it done for Renfest, because I am using a variety of different steps in creating this just to make sure that since it is, made partially of lace, that it is sturdy and I can actually make it as, or use it as an apron rather. So you probably won't be able to see this, but what has been happening is, and these are in various stages of the process, I've been taking the pieces of lace and stitching them to the cotton using a straight stitch that's going around in kind of a circular formation. And it's a very, very small, like running stitch, basically. And then after that, I have been cutting the outside of that running stitch, or the inside rather, of the running stitch, so that the outside basically looks like the fabric is a continuation with the lace and so on. So it's fabric, lace, fabric, and it looks like they all kind of came this way. And unlike this part, I don't know if any of this is registering on the camera. I hope it is. But on this part, you can see clearly that it's, lace that's been stitched to a piece of fabric. Whereas on this one, they look like a continuation. But to make sure that they are sturdy, the next part after I've stitched all of these and cut all of these is to do another, probably a whip stitch on the back to make sure that since this is cotton, it doesn't fray too much. So I'm not really sure when this is going to be done, but my hope is I can get it done in the next 2 weeks. This is, by the way, not the project that I am about to start either. This is still, I'm thinking, part of my 16th century dress. So pictures are still yet to come. I'm waiting to get this finished. And I might actually make a little bag to go with it too, because I have some really beautiful velour that I haven't used yet. And it just seems like it would be perfect for like a little 16th century purse to keep my belongings in. So I'll keep you posted on that one. But for now, I'm still working on this. And that's the reason why I wanted to show you the straight stitch and the running stitch. So let's see, where did I put my things? Okay, I've got this. Where are my scissors? I can work with that. All right, so let me show you this really quickly. And while I'm getting this set up, Lawrence, do we have any comments, questions so far?
We do, from the very beginning. We have a smaller number of comments, so I can probably address all of them.
Perfect.
Let's remember. Renee says, good evening. And I think there's some kind of clap emoji. Good evening, Renee.
Yay! Good evening.
Shauna says that the notification bell worked.
Hey!
Shauna is here. Hello.
Took long enough, but I'm so glad.
And Renee is happy to have caught this live stream, as
Yay!
are we all. And Samantha, that's Samantha with an asterisk, two of them. Says, yay, I finally made a live stream. And then this was in relation to the costume college. Donna says that she just found out about it this year. And Peg wanted to know where in California. And it looks like Donna may have answered it. Pasadena, I think.
I think, yeah, if it's not in Pasadena, it's definitely near there, from what I've heard. I've known about it for a few years, but I have been kind of intimidated to go until now. Now that I'm doing this, though, I feel like I don't have an excuse. And you probably, at some stage, you're going to want to see what it's like. So I feel almost an obligation to you fine folks to go and to show you what it is. But I think I am ready to go ahead and show them the straight stitch. So are you ready for me, Lawrence?
Yes, let's see how best we can do this. And apologies for the sound of my kitten in the background.
So the straight stitch is probably the easiest stitch that you will do. And besides the whip stitch, it's the stitch that you're most likely to learn from a very early age. So it literally is just you start and then you do a straight stitch. And the straight stitch is just the one stitch like that. And you can, of course, do multiple straight stitches. Straight stitches can be used in embroidery as kind of a decorative motif. They can get longer or shorter as you need to. But really, the straight stitch in basic sewing is basically just a large basting stitch that is in a straight line or in a curved line. And the reason why it's called straight is because the stitch itself is straight. Now, along with the straight stitch, you can do a running stitch. And that's, like I said, essentially what I've been doing with that lace that I showed you against the cotton. And what that is it's a smaller stitch. And the reason why it's called a running stitch, I suspect at least, I don't have any proof of this, but this is the way I was taught at least, is that you put multiple stitches, as many as you can fit to where they're still the same size, on the needle at once, and then pull through, and they run together. So they're smaller slightly than the straight stitch, and you put a bunch of them together. Now, obviously, that's curved. Doesn't have to be. They can be straight. It's always good to run along a marking. So it probably would have been smarter for me to like stitch on this, but I don't know how well that would have shown up. So apologies for that. But yeah, so straight stitch and running stitch, my friends. And now let's go ahead and take a look at the other comments, if there are any.
Yes, there are. And this is a good question. Shauna asks, are we going to see your finished green dress?
You will. Like I said, it's still waiting. I am going to get there, and you will get to see it here on the live stream. And I'll also have some pictures on both Instagram and Facebook. And I'll probably even write, in fact, I'm already starting on writing a Camesia post specifically, but I would like to write a companion post on my blog, oldfashionedaf.com, that shows you the process from beginning to end. But because I wore it to a Ren Fest, it is disgusting right now. So I'm going to clean it first before I give you proper photos. I also would really like to finish my apron first too, because it goes with it. So once those two things are done and Lawrence gets back from a business trip from next week, then we will absolutely take some photos, and you will get to see all of that beauty, if you want to call it that. It's a green dress. I don't know.
It's amazing.
It's nice. I liked it. It was fun to wear. So yes, you will definitely see it. Anything else?
Nope. We are at the end of the questions there.
All right. So the moment that you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. My next project is going to be, everybody drum roll. Da, 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 da.
Does that sound like a drum roll?
It's going to be something called the 1 hour dress. Now, if you've ever heard of the 1 hour dress, then congratulations, because I had actually never heard of it until yesterday afternoon, when I started to research about what I wanted to do after I was finished with the 16th century dress. And it's funny that I didn't know about it, because I know about the silhouette of the 20s completely. And in fact, I love the silhouette of the 20s. And I wish that I could fit better in the dresses. So be prepared to be impressed with this with this outfit. But the reason why I'm doing it is because, as you know, I'm sure some of you at least, Downton Abbey, the movie, is coming out, and I get to go and see it on the 12th, which, P.S., it doesn't even come out until the 20th. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to the opening. But because I'm going to the opening, I thought maybe I would make a dress for the occasion. And because it's called the 1 hour dress, surely I can make it before the opening, right?
I mean, you should be able to make it before we go to bed tonight.
Right. No, apparently the world record holder, at least at the time, I don't know if it's still true, in making the 1 hour dress made it in 38 minutes. And even like the most skilled seamstresses that I know of usually make them in about 2 hours. So I'm thinking this is going to be a project that lasts about a week. And that's really perfect, right? Because I'm going to this opening on the 12th. So hopefully between now and then I can come up with the 1 hour dress of my dreams. And that is what I'm going to do between now and the Downton Abbey showing. So I'm really excited about that. Lawrence is going to be out of town, so he does not get to come with me. I'm going to be going solo on this one. So that's kind of sad, but that's okay. I'm sure that I'll still take a few selfies and all that jazz. So see what I did there?
Boom, 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 boom.
So yeah, that is what I'm going to be working on. And if you would like to work on it with me, I have given Lawrence a link that he will put in the comments. Oh, it sounds like he's already put it in there, to the digitized version of this pattern, if you want to call it that. It's really not a pattern. It's sort of like how when I made my chemise, you basically take your own measurements and then work from there. So it's a very similar product to that. So it's going to be a very interesting process, and hopefully you guys will be watching my socials to see how I'm doing with that, because I'm already a little bit overwhelmed at the prospect of doing another something like that again. But I'm really excited too. So I'm going to be doing that, and that is my new project. And yeah, that's really it. So as I said before, I'm still finishing up that Italian Renaissance ensemble. I'll keep you posted as to how that's going. I wanted to remind you that I have a Pinterest page, and I am going to tomorrow pin a bunch of different examples of the 1 hour dress. So if you're following me on that, then stay tuned for those, and you can follow that board and see some of the research that I've come up with. If you are inspired to watch me and you like working on projects of your own, I, of course, am interested in hearing about them. And special thanks, by the way, to Tartan Tabby and Donna for this, because they had the idea to use the hashtag craftyvintagelady, because I guess that's what I am. I don't know, to show me your projects. So please use that hashtag when you are showing things. And then we can all see them via our community on various social media. So again, that's hashtag craftyvintagelady, or craftyvintagelady rather. And of course, Lawrence just put that in the comments as well for you. And then finally, I still have that special offer going on until September 10th, which of course is 6 days from now. So we have less than a week for you to get a custom print from myself, signed old Hollywood style from me to you. And if you become a patron of $5 or more per month. So you can go to patreon.com/oldfashioned_AF to become a patron today. And like I said, in the next 6 days, if you do so, then I will send you a lovely print. They will probably go out in the next few weeks, just because Lawrence, again, is going to be out of town, so he can't take those pictures until he gets back. But as soon as he does, I will keep my patrons posted, and it will be in the mail for you. And then finally, like I said, I'm working on some posts having to do with the 16th century gown. But I would really like it if you went to my website and became a subscriber to my email list as well, oldfashionedaf.com, because tomorrow I'm going to be sending another edition of my favorites, vintage-wise and historic-wise from around the web. So hopefully you will become a subscriber before then, and you'll be able to see all the things that I have been looking at personally, including, of course, some of the 1 hour dress stuff, etc. So we have run almost out of time, but I will take any other comments that we have before we get going.
Yes, on the subject of the 1 hour dress, Peg has a great question. What color are you thinking of making it?
I'm still thinking about the stripey challenge. Carolina is drawing me to this challenge, so I think it's going to be something striped. I just haven't decided yet what. I will probably go this weekend to the fabric store and figure that out. So maybe I'll come with you, or you can come with me on socials, and we will figure that out together. I don't know.
All right, and finally, Donna is being all modest and saying it was all Tartan Tabby with the hashtag.
Well, nevertheless, thank you very much. I think the hashtag is a great idea. And, well, this has been wonderful. It has been a pleasure, as always, to chat with you guys. And I will hopefully see you on socials. Again, use that hashtag, hashtag craftyvintagelady. And I cannot wait to see all of your different costumes, projects, etc. that you're doing and crafting until next week. Oh, and by the way, before I go, Lawrence is going to be gone, as I mentioned a couple times throughout this live stream, which means that I'm going to be on my own, but I'm still going to try and make it happen. So you'll just have to bear with me since I don't have my commander at the helm next week.
Indeed. Indeed.
Right. So have a wonderful night, everyone, and I will see you next week at 8 p.m. Central for another Sew stream.
Cheerio.